All right. Check, 1, 2. All right, we're almost there. Oh yeah, I did post it on Blue Sky. All right. Hello. Oh, you got to move over. I always forgot this is an issue. Camera angle.
Am I audible?
I think you're audible.
I don't think I'm audible to me.
Oh.
Ah, that's better.
Okay, there we go. Oh God, you're shaking the whole desk here.
It's my
All right, we gotta do the fade out on the song here. Oh yeah, there we go. Nice and smooth there.
No.
All right. So, I've been thinking about. Welcome to the Rough Report, by the way. I didn't do my usual intro. I used to have that whole spiel about broadcasting from Ottawa live and all that stuff. I'm Jimmy Ruffian. This is Nat Prince, and we are reporting live from our basement,
the sunny shores of Ottawa.
From the sunny shores of Ottawa. This is we're finally getting back on a regular schedule. I feel like hopefully we can keep this up. And one thing I did want, like a topic I always wanted to cover on the show, but it's such a broad topic, like the entire podcast could be devoted to it. And sometimes I think, maybe we should devote more time to it overall, is the overlappings of pop culture and politics. For the most part, I think we've gone pretty far in avoiding leaning into pop culture too much. Generally speaking, even when we're talking about like a pop culture figure, we usually stay more in the politics of it, which I don't think like that aspect may necessarily change. But just talking about, people who are in the public eye, are sort of in the zeitgeist, who aren't necessarily directly political figures,
but who have a lot of political influence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because that's the thing, is that everything in life is politics. When you say that, I don't deal with politics. Politics has nothing to do with me. Politics has everything to do with everything, every aspect of our lives, because politicians and policy can and does have a devastating impact on people when they fuck it all up, which we will talk about a little bit later.
Yeah.
But just to summarize, everything is politics, everything is political.
Yeah,
and so the people that you enjoy watching, your celebrities, they are political too.
Yeah, one of the things, like, I guess right off the top here that I didn't have it pulled up, was this thing I posted the other day, where like you hear a lot in like political spheres and how people talk about this stuff as if they're like perfectly like secular from each other, like this culture and this politics, this sort of thing. And so here, let me. This meme sort of sums it up. They got you fighting a culture war to stop you from fighting a class war. And that is, I think, a bad summarization of things. I think this
overly
in itself,
simplistic.
Yeah, it's overly simplistic, and I think it in itself it works as a sort of propaganda, a negative propaganda that it makes all sorts of bad assumptions, right? Like
like if only the purple lady would stop yelling, then the red hat man would be nicer.
Yeah. The bad assumption. What Red Hat Man, what Mega Man is standing for, he's on the same side as Top Hat.
Yeah.
He upholds and believes in the hierarchy that puts Top Hat there.
Yeah, he's a foot soldier.
And he is a willful fool on their behalf. Like when the right, and especially working class right-wing people, talk about the elite, it seems to be a very narrow subset of people. They're not actually interested in taking down the upper class in total, because once you start talking about the billionaire they like, I don't know, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and saying, well, you know, maybe they shouldn't have billions of dollars. Maybe they shouldn't have the undue power that they have. They get their backs up about that. Right? They want to defend why those people are powerful and why they have the money that they have, and insulate them from that kind of criticism. Because if you start going down that rabbit hole, oh, it's socialism, it's communism. And you know what? That's kind of the point. Yeah. When you are actually becoming class consciousness, you cannot achieving class consciousness and going down that path of thinking, you're going to land in some Marxist frames of thought and find yourself agreeing with them. And I think that maybe scares some people, like, oh no, they're getting to me too. No. It's a no. So it's got to be only these handful of bad elites. If it wasn't for these bad elites whose politics elites. I don't agree. Yeah, the Soroses, which is like a anti-Semitic dog whistle.
Yeah, and it's a foghorn. It's not even.
Yeah, it's an air raid. An air horn. Yeah. So yeah, like this is painting a false picture of what the reality is, because in this, especially when you look at an image like this, to me, it really highlights that the culture war and class war are one and the same, or intertwine and intersect like fucking plaid. You know, there are so many intersections to it. So, and culture, and as Steve Bannon, you know, one of the Trump's favorite advisors, the Breitbart guy, and pretty just like I don't know if he denies that he's a fascist, but you know, it's pretty obvious he has fascist politics. He said time and time again, and it's part of his political project, that politics is downstream from culture. And you know, being class conscious is a political thing. Obviously, I don't know how you could think it isn't. No. But, and also it sort of frames everything as just simply liberal versus conservative. And it's a lot more nuanced than that. Purple-haired lady might vote for Democrat very reluctantly. It's not like a lot of those people are total blue dog, vote blue no matter who, and all that sort of thing. They're holding their nose and voting Democrat because they really hate Top Hat guy, and they recognize Democrats probably aren't going to do anything about Top Hat guy, but the Republicans are going to do more to make him more powerful. Yeah, that is the obvious bent. Like, we've probably said it so many times in terms of this dynamic of liberal and conservative as it exists on this entire side of the world, that liberals don't necessarily make anything better. They may even make things worse. It's just conservatives
make things less worse.
Conservatives make things worser by a pretty exponential degree. Like, you know, we were just talking the other day, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about the alligator Alcatraz, and how, you know, when I was like, when I really think about it, if Kamala won, how much better would this situation be? Like, it would be better. I don't think we'd have a literal concentration camp being built in what seems to be a wetlands. Purposeful swamp.
And not just that, but like an ecologically protected area.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like just so stacks of wrong and craziness. So it's that
not
you probably wouldn't see from a Democrat administration. But they still be using ICE. They would not disband ICE. Yeah. They'd probably even expand its powers, because during their campaign to try and shore up some right-wing votes, as if they thought that would ever work for them, and not just turn off their base, which is exactly what happened. They started getting tough on immigration and started talking about, oh, yeah, we'll crack down on immigration too. And so, of course, like Obama set like a record in his tenure for deporting people. Yeah. So, like, really, you know, yes, it would be better, but how much, right? And
I mean, enough that it would have been worthwhile to like not do this.
And that's why, but you know, I identify with purple hair lady because I dye my hair crazy colors. I'm pretty lefty. I'm pretty queer. Yeah. So I would venture the guess based on this stereotype. that this is not a person that was super enthused to vote for Kamala. They probably had a long list of reasons not to. But the only positive was she's not Donald Trump.
Or
basically.
Or she could have, been duped into voting Jill Stein or
something. So, this false dynamic that it's the liberals and the conservatives, and that's all that exists, and that it's like the sports team sort of thing.
I mean, that's the problem with the two-party system, is that then, it literally becomes sports teams, red versus blue. I mean, at least in Canada, we've got more than that, but not fucking really. NDP lost the party status because they lost so many fucking seats in the last federal election. They're rudderless without a new voted in leader right now. And so, for all intents and purposes, federally in Canada, we are a two-party system right now. So we just got to rely on the provinces to shore up those other third, fourth, etc. parties, because this shit is fucked, man. And we can't trust the big two to actually do what is in our best interest, because they're fucking not.
And so part of this politics and pop culture sort of thing I wanted to get into was how comedians talk about politics, because they, you've heard this sort of bloated, ridiculous phrase, but it actually has a certain truth to it, and that's part of the problem, is that comedians are kind of the modern philosophers. People gather around to look at them stand on a stage and spout their platitudes and be clever and insightful, hopefully, and things like that. I think calling them modern philosophers just has a bit of an eye-rolly kind of cringiness to it.
Well, it's just they're able to make something boring and inaccessible relatable.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's basically
And
PR,
jokes are an
an
extremely powerful, persuasive rhetorical tool.
Yeah.
If you can make somebody laugh at something and sort of see this sense of ridiculousness in it, even though you could find the ridiculousness in all things, but if you really open it up to somebody in such a way that connects with them and makes them laugh, that can really change the way they see it. Or if they see people around them laughing at it, that can have an influence in how they perceive something and realize, everybody else finds this funny, but maybe there's something I'm missing, or I have to reconsider what my position is, because look at all these people.
For better or worse.
For better or worse.
Yeah,
literally.
It's a value neutral thing that happens.
And the culture you live in affects how you see politics. If you live in a culture that votes strongly conservative, they have a way of looking at cultural things that overlaps with their politics, and that's why their politics are the way they are, and the same goes for liberals and leftists and all that sort of thing. So but going back to kind of what you were saying, getting on that uniparty point where how different would it be, and what did you say right before? I was trying to remember the exact words. But talking about how both parties are just too much alike.
I wasn't even saying that so much, is that they just neither of them are willing to do the hard work to actually make things better for us, because so the party colors are reversed in Canada versus the U.S. In Canada, red is liberal,
is the Liberal Party,
is left. Well, liberal is red, and blue is conservative in Canada. Whereas in the U.S., it's red is Republican, blue is Democrat. So I'm not gonna use the colors, because that will just get confusing. But anywho, so on the right end of the spectrum, we've just had in the U.S. this massive transfer of wealth out of the working class that just got written in. And the thing about the Democrats is that, they whined, but they didn't stop it. They didn't throw their bodies on the gears.
Evil. No, like the Willy Wonka thing, no, don't. Please stop.
Yeah. They did not throw their bodies on the machinery. They did not do
because they don't care. They work for the same masters, and that's why let's show a clip of one of my favorite comedians, although in some of the ways he talks about politics. I'm going to have some criticisms,
Yeah.
Or pick it apart at least, or expand upon it.
Mhm.
But overall, I will say I enjoy and think Bill Burr is quite funny.
Mhm.
So this little clip right here, and again, this gives me mixed feelings because he's right,
Mhm.
but oh yeah, it's muted.
He's also muted.
Like, I just zone out. I can't even talk to you if you're actually still looking at it like those are two choices that you're getting. You're not. It's the same. Once you get past a certain level, it just seems like it's you know,
all the same.
Yeah, you've jumped in the river and you act accordingly, or you get that convertible ride in Dallas. Anybody who comes at me going, these
that's what he says at the beginning here.
right, or these liberals, like.
Okay, so he doesn't even frame it like party names, right? Like he's an American. I assume he's talking on an American broadcast. And so he's referring to it as conservative and liberal, not Democrat and Republican. But sort of confusing it with like the parties, right? Because yes, like if you actually have a real choice between a proper liberal candidate and a proper conservative candidate, yes, you would have some sense of choice there, I think. But that's not what the situation is. Republicans and Democrats, like the Democrats are a conservative party in effect by like all political science standards, right? They are a conservative party and are war hawkish and all these things, right? But the Republicans are just like at this point a completely fascist party. So like so far off to the right. So you have two right-wing parties. Right? And one that's just way more ineffectual than the other in all the worst ways.
One that won't tell you to your face that it's okay if you die.
So again, like when you hear people on TV talking about this, and it's especially if you're a young person, because I feel like a lot of like teenagers or young adults are engaging in a lot of comedic material and getting a lot of their political framework from it.
Well, and the thing about the youth as well is that, like, yes, they get their information
I know I
from
did.
media.
Like, yeah,
sure.
like,
well, I mean,
that's
like,
how you absorb a lot of this stuff. That's how you come across it in a lot of
and the Daily
ways.
Show has been around for
exactly.
Like,
the Daily Show is a huge influence on my interest in politics, right?
Yeah. I remember when the Daily Show was hosted by Craig Kinnear.
Yeah.
So it's been around for a long time, but then even that was preceded by like. This hour is 22 minutes and SC whatever, it doesn't matter. Anywho, so like but thing about the youth too, and I'm not talking about this current generation, about the youth is that they get their political initial political understanding from their families, and so many families are.
Well,
they were doing okay, and so politics they thought was invisible and not affecting them because outwardly everyone was more or less doing okay. But I think now that more people are doing worse. I think that now this
and you have social media.
Well, you have social media. You have more proof that people are doing worse, and you have families starting to.
You can't ignore it anymore. You can't pretend.
Yeah,
it's so
but like
in your face.
even the ones who are pretending that all this Trump stuff is good, even then they're more entrenched. Like they don't seem to be ambivalent about it. They're just goose stepping right the fuck along with it, and so they're politicized and they're energized by this now in ways that previously they would have likely just been fucking apathetic. Maybe go to your clan meeting once a month, and then after that, just meet the boys for beers, but not necessarily be out there planting pipe bombs and such or storming the Capitol. But now,
the point I was trying to get at with the way he's talking about this and how young people absorb this kind of content and get their political ideas from it. Like somebody's gonna, like some young impressionable person is gonna hear that, and it's going to maybe plant the seed that, or further implant the seed that liberals, conservatives, they're all the same. and you hear people say stuff like that and all sorts of, oh, they're all the same. They're all the same.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of ways they're all too similar, but kind of framing it like both of these political concepts and how they play out in the real world and when they're implemented, and the sort of changes that one would make versus the other. And again, I'm talking about like their ideals, their idealism, their policies and practices, and the differences there. And again, when you're talking about the Republicans and the Democrats, I can understand if you're being specific about the parties. And being clear about the language of that. But I think the more we frame the political concepts, the ideas, and the names we give to these things and try and blur the lines as if there is not a difference between those, that is just, at that point, miseducation, misinformation, and an impressionable person be like, yeah, I zone out too. People start talking about these politics and different. I zone out. They're all ridiculous, and I throw up my hands. And if you feel legitimized in remaining ignorant, and so like while Bill Burr has a point in one aspect, if you're not thinking critically or thinking analytically at all, and you're just like kind of on this sort of just very receptive sponge end of the communication, that can definitely miseducate you. And that's the criticism I have about that.
But then also like even having the what's the word I'm looking for? The luxury of apathy. A lot of folks have been disabused of that luxury of apathy, because these changes are so dramatically and immediately harmful, that stances like, oh, they're all the same, and voting doesn't matter, and my apathy is not only justified but also morally righteous. The worse things get, is harder and harder to hold on to that. And so I think that
I remember an argument I had with a friend years ago. Like one of the more heated political arguments was around exactly that, is that she was sort of taking that morally righteous to being disengaged. What difference does it make? They're all the same, and blah, 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 blah. And again, there is a point to that, with a huge but, with a huge asterisk. And I'm trying to emphasize the importance of that asterisk, and she just wasn't having it. She was taking it like, oh, you're trying to like force me to make a decision. I'm like, I'm not forcing you. The decision's going to be made. That's the thing. It's going to be made whether you're involved or not. I just think you should probably be involved.
And that's the thing I say when people are like, oh, well, I'm not going to bother voting. It's like,
it doesn't go away.
Like someone is going to lead the country. Abstaining from voting doesn't mean that the vote doesn't happen and things don't continue on anyways. It just means that you have had zero.
And I've heard people make the honest argument that they can, if enough people don't vote, that will render the election null and void. There's just that opens up so many things for me, because I feel like there's no way you're fucking thinking this through. Okay. Firstly, then what? Like
a recount, or like a re-election?
Does the incumbent just continue until what? Until you do what about that? Like just not having the election. That's not like a solution in of itself. Even if it's possible, because like that's just impossible. You're not going to do it. I'm sorry. Like I don't mean to be like the anti-hope guy or say it can't be done when it maybe could be done. But it just won't be. Let's put it that way. It won't be. You're never going to create a situation, especially in the United States, where so few people vote, and that makes such a rocking revelation to the establishment that they're not going to have a winner of the election.
Outside of a dog catcher, like
there's no way that's going to happen.
For president, please, for Congress,
don't be that ridiculous. That isn't a lot of people saying that, but I've come across it enough that I'm like, there's no way that you actually think that this is a path.
Come
on.
It's not.
But anyway.
But then also, like, it's like even if one person votes, like, or two people to vote, the two people who are like up against each other, even if those two people vote, then there's gonna be a runoff, and they're gonna look for a third vote, right? Like, it's just not a thing. So it's silly. And the thing too is that we need to understand that this voting thing. It does matter, but also as you go further down from federal to municipal to local to school boards, the smaller the population, the greater the impact, right? And so, like, looking at the Canadian federal election, there were some electoral districts or polling stations, rather, where the votes were determined by like a few, by like a dozen. So, in that circumstance, and because the votes were so close, it took the better part of like a week or two to actually get like the final results as to how many seats were being allocated to the Liberals. And so like that fucking matters, right? Like if the Liberals got a super majority, then that means that they don't need to play nice with the other parties. They just need to make sure that within their party, everyone votes the way that the leader wants them to. But, even insofar as having minority, majority, anyway, if they're missing like 2 votes, they still got to play with somebody, right? So like these things matter. And then so in terms of culture and politics and like hearing comedians saying stuff like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's all silly. I mean, yeah, it is pretty fucking silly, and especially
please continue to point out the silliness.
Yeah, like
we need that.
Yeah, like including like Jon Stewart, The Daily Show, John Oliver, that they don't just dog on one side because they recognize the ridiculous in the Democratic Party as well.
It's pretty obvious, what Jon Stewart's politics are.
Yeah, he's
or
not
which way they generally lean.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. And but yeah, like if you've actually watched The Daily Show, in all honesty, he spends a pretty good amount of time dunking on Democrats
because he wants things to be better.
Yeah,
he's not just
and the
rah
Democrats
rah my team.
Are ineffectual and they suck, and a lot of people know that.
Yeah,
they just really hate the Republicans because they're fucking evil. And again, this is another clip of Bill Burr, and this is a popular, fairly popular podcast. Where they're on the New York City subway, and they have lavalier microphones on their Metro cards. And they're having a little interview on the subway. I've seen tons of people do this show. But, yeah, there's a couple things that Bill Burr says here that, again, it has a point, but I want to encourage people to think critically when they're engaging with this type of stuff and not just become a parrot to it. Because it is funny and it is clever and all these sort of things. Or it just sounds nice, which in this case, you'll see.
What's your take?
When they get rid of all the illegals in this country, white billionaires will then magically become generous and start paying people a living wage because they inadvertently got rid of their excuse as to why they're not paying people.
100% disagree.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, he's obviously being sarcastic there, which is a pretty good
he's
bit.
taking the piss.
Yeah,
why would they all of a sudden start
absolutely
paying?
Because it's the illegal aliens' fault. That's why.
So what's the problem?
They need to come to this country the right way, the way my people came here.
On a boat?
Yeah, that's the way you do it.
You're pilgrim-blooded, right?
I think, you go back a couple generations. Yeah, my people had a belt buckle right on the front of their hat.
Turkey Boys, Thanksgiving Boys.
That was the name of their gang. They were the Turkey Boys, yeah.
Some of your jokes are about how everyone is mad at everyone else. And no one's mad at the right people.
Yeah, they have states hating other states.
So going back to what we were saying at the beginning of the show with, the people just hating other people and it's a distraction.
People in red states don't like California. People in California don't like Texas. Somewhere along the line we missed that it's the United States and that we're all on the same team. And these psychos at the top, they just get everybody all stirred up. This guy's causing riots in American cities. And, you know, there's people trying to get to their apartments and they're getting shot with rubber bullets. And we are so divided because of CNN and Fox News that as long as the bullets are going at the countrymen that are wearing the wrong tie, you somehow don't view them as on your team anymore. And it's a really dangerous time. I have faith, though, that through things like this and social media, you know, because you've seen it's brought down regimes around, you know, the world, that we can get on the same page. But one of the things I hate the most, people will write things like, I will never forgive people that voted for Trump. And it's just like, well, now you just caused division.
Yeah.
You want to bring them over. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you also just voted for a guy that should have been in a home. You know, he's on his back porch talking to himself.
I saw a great tweet the other day that said,
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
sorry,
yeah,
first
few,
off-
few points on that.
I'd say, first off, the difference between dementia grandpa and like fascist grandpa.
Yeah.
The fuck off.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I'm sorry. Again, it's funny
Yeah.
and in its own way, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say, oh, this is terrible, and I'm so angry about
Yeah.
it. But like, you know, looking at it through a critical lens,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a guy having dementia, which let's face it, Donald Trump also has. He ain't sharp. That's for sure. Yeah, difference between a guy in dementia and a vicious fascist. I don't think those are equal levels of bad.
No.
I just,
Yeah.
I think equating those two things is maybe a little misleading.
Yeah.
Again, for the sake of the punchline and the joke,
Yeah.
you have to appreciate that is what it is. And then when people point out,
Mm-hmm.
hey, that's not entirely true, a lot of people's reaction is what? To say, well, it's just a joke. But my concern is
Yeah.
to the people who are throwing up and defending and going, well, it's just a joke. Well, yeah, it
If
is.
it's just a joke,
but
then
do
let it
you
go.
know that? Like, yes, you know it's a joke because it's a comedian saying it and
Yeah.
it maybe made you laugh.
Yeah.
But are you aware that the person who's criticizing it
Mm.
is also saying something that's true?
Yeah.
Or are you just saying it's just a joke to make them shut up and you don't have to think about it?
Yeah, but also if it's just a joke, then stop defending it. If it's just a joke,
It
then
doesn't
it doesn't
require
matter
your
enough.
defense,
Yeah.
maybe.
If it's just a joke, sometimes jokes don't land, and
Yeah.
it's the job of the comedian to work on the material and to know their
Yeah.
audience.
So when like people like this in his position are talking about, well, I'll never forgive the people that voted for Donald Trump, and that's bad because we need to invite those people over. I say, okay, like I want people who voted for Donald Trump to have
Healthcare.
rights, health care, not be in poverty.
Yeah.
and-
They're not invited to my fucking house.
Yeah, I don't have to forgive them for voting for a fascist, though.
Yeah.
I don't have to, go to their family barbecue and shake hands and was it dance whether you link the arms. Was square dancing or whatever,
hoedown.
the hoedown.
Yeah.
No, I don't got to do that.
No.
I think saying I'm not going to forgive these people is maybe the proper words. Now, you could say that implies that you want those people to suffer, and let's be real. Liberals do that. I've seen lots of them do that.
Yeah.
These Democrats who are just so angry that Donald Trump won, and I understand that anger.
Yeah.
But that they'll turn around and sound exactly like fascists in their own right, going, "Oh, I hope Texas floods. I hope these people suffer because that's where those are the voting blocks that elected them in." So it's like, oh, you want these families to suffer because of the government that we have.
Yeah.
Oh, it's twisted. It's
Yeah,
twisted.
that's-
And let's face it, very right wing, because as we've already kind of said, liberals and the Democratic Party, largely a right wing, centrist to right wing ideology.
Yeah.
There are some among them, of course, that lean very left or lean more left, but nonetheless, overall right wing.
Yeah, but also so much fucking energy goes into telling the left that they need to open arms for the right when the right is ready to stab us under our ribs.
Yeah.
Literally,
Yeah. You're Bill, you're talking about people that want to bring lynching back.
Yeah.
You know, like
Back.
yeah, or just continue to
Yeah.
do it in
Yeah.
like, but maybe bring it back in a more big, socially
Public square.
acceptable public square kind of way. Yeah.
So yeah, like that's
Like, I don't think I want to make friends with those people. I don't think
No.
I have to.
And that's the thing too, is that like, you know, all of these demands literally wind up falling on the left, especially when you're talking about like, oh, people get tear
Exactly.
gassed and shot
Who's
for
gonna
protesting.
is actually
Who
expecting
gets
to
whose protests get violently shut down by police?
yeah. So
Is it the Proud Boys?
Yeah.
Is it neo-Nazis? I'm sorry. Can we roll tape? Can we check? Can we check and see which side of the fence is actually getting shot with rubber bullets and having
Yeah.
chemical warfare
Yeah.
enacted against them? Like,
Yeah.
let's
Like,
check
let's
the
remember
tape.
what January 6th looked like
Yeah.
compared to any leftist protest.
Yeah.
And the stark difference of like the level of danger that was actually presented to the government about those things.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious where the power lies and who's actually more afraid of one ideology over the other.
Yeah. So like, let's not pretend that all things being equal, because all things ain't fucking equal.
Yeah, and just saying we need to come together and like this idea that it's in its magical thinking, but it's popular magical thinking that we just need to love each other, we need to stop the division, and then suddenly all these political problems, all these horrible, violent, angry, hateful ideas
Yeah.
that are inherent to the right-wing ideology,
Yeah.
they're just going to melt away.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like, I can't defeat a concentration camp with
the power of love.
with the power.
yeah,
of love,
yeah. It's
right?
I'm sorry, that's not going to
That's
happen.
not how it fucking works.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of which, I think that you should go on to that portion.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, speaking of concentration camps, like, okay, yes, Israel has locked Gaza, the West Bank, into an open-air concentration camp. So that is well established. We're talking about a new concentration camp that's been built up over the past, what did it take, like 2 weeks or something like that?
I think they said the Alligator Alcatraz was built in 3 months, if I remember correctly.
It's in one of the links that I sent to you.
I think I got them all.
Anywho, so TLDR, now this name isn't something the left came up with to talk shit. This is something the right who is setting
they
up
proudly named this thing
They named it-
Alligator Alcatraz.
Yeah, they named it that
was
themselves.
an enthusiastic thing
Yeah.
that they did.
that they are also setting. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the first one. That they are also selling merch for. And let's not forget,
Like they want to
that-
make a fandom about this. Again, this is about culture. This is about capturing the people via culture and making them
and normalizing shit.
excited
Yeah.
that we're doing this to people.
Yeah.
Not that it's like it's this solemn political duty
No.
that we just have to do this and this is the way we're going to fix this country.
Yeah.
No, they're not doing it even that way. Even that's still evil.
They're not even doing
that's
it
still
like
very
under the
evil,
radar. Yeah.
But they're not even doing it with a sense of
Decorum
decorum
or,
or civility. They're
yeah.
literally going fucking yeehaw
Yeah.
while they're being monstrous.
Yeah, and
They're-
keep in
they're
mind-
enjoying it.
Yeah. So alligator.
And again,
Alcatraz, keep in mind-
are these the type of people we're supposed to be friendly with? That I'm supposed to stop the division with? It's on me to do that.
Yeah,
fuck
fuck
off.
that. Keep in mind that it is well established and historical that enslaved babies, black babies, were fed to alligators and crocodiles.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something that like is a mythical horror. This is a very real thing that was actually enacted, and so this harkens to the darkest, every darkest corner of American history and American present. It is fucking awful. And so now Alligator Alcatraz came over together quickly. And so
In a matter of days, an isolated training airport in the Everglades.
2 weeks since the
endangered-
state seized the property from
Oh,
Miami-Dade
it
County.
was built in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and so here's the thing: is that it's already flooded. and there's zero indication that this is a deal breaker, or they're deciding like, oh well, we can't go ahead with this site, it's not safe. This is a this is part of the design. It's not a bug, it's a feature of making the site itself terrifying and dangerous, like not just from the alligators and from the, you know, whatever wildlife, but also just we should not we should not have any kind of faith that once people start being detained here, that making sure that they're safe is a priority, making sure that if there's severe flooding that they get escorted out. Like, this is the kind of place where you bring people to die.
Yeah.
And that
and again, there are people that are celebrating this.
Yeah.
There are people that are just okay with it.
Yeah.
There are people saying, yep, this is exactly what I voted for.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there are people who are saying, well, this isn't what I voted for, which is very confusing.
Yeah.
Because
it's like,
what did you think you voted for?
What did you think?
I find that, like, and you know what? Maybe those are the people, out of all the people that voted for Donald Trump, maybe those are the people I can forgive the most. But I don't entirely believe you either. I find it a little incredulous, a little hard to swallow that you can claim ignorance here. Again, one of the most biggest cultural figures that very commonly overlaps with politics, Joe Rogan. This Gizmodo post on Blue Sky. Joe Rogan's Trump endorsement is unraveling. He's furious over ICE raids targeting gardeners and students. I wonder if it's because anybody worked for him got in trouble. Anybody like maintaining his lawn, and that's why he's, it's personal now. He's asking if we're sliding into fascism. He's asking that now.
Yeah.
He's that one little fucking gear in his head.
Yeah.
Cranked one turn over.
And this is the type of guy who will say that he's apolitical.
Yeah.
While platforming these right-wing political figures.
And giving into right-wing ideas and things like that.
Yeah.
So he's right here surprised about how Trump is handling immigration.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when they
made me think, I'm pretty sure I've heard Joe Rogan talk about this before. Like he's had to have talked about immigrants before, right? He's covering all these right-wing topics. Well, this was 35 weeks ago. And this is Joe Rogan's own account. So I'm going to refresh this because hugely the video will start over. Yeah. So John Fetterman's on there.
He's a Democrat, but
a hugely right-wing Democrat. Like, this guy sucks. I don't know a single person that has voted Democrat. Like, personally, I just don't know any single person who that has voted Democrat in all my like online circles and all that stuff that doesn't hate this guy. He sucks so bad. But anyway, here he is on Joe Rogan 35 weeks ago talking about this subject. What does he say?
Border, it's a significant issue. And if I thought there was any kinds of issues, and I've been very vigilant throughout, I've been actively involved in those kinds of things, and I've never witnessed those kinds of a thing.
What do you mean by issues? Like, what kind of issues are you talking about? You talking about people letting people in order to get votes?
Well, it's not. There's not that level kinds. I don't think there's that level kinds of organization.
That level kinds of organization. That guy Stroke did a number on him, I think. But besides the point, he's saying there's not that kind of level of organization to shore up votes. But that's the idea that Joe Rogan immediately explores. Oh, what problems could it be? They're bringing in immigrants to try and get votes, and you're telling me he doesn't have a political fucking racist ass anti-immigration bend in his head where that's immediately where his brain goes when Fetterman ostensibly didn't suggest this at all. And he's already trying to go, I don't think that's a thing. So what does Joe Rogan continue to do?
But there is an organization that's moving these people to swing states. There's a significant number
Now,
of
he's
these people
telling the guy
that are
he's
illegal
interviewing.
immigrants that have made their way to swing states. And then there's been calls for amnesty. There's been calls for allowing these people to have a pathway to citizenship and allow them to vote. The fear that a lot of people have is that this is a coordinated effort to take these people that you're allowing to come.
So, like, I this doesn't sound like a question for the
Yeah.
politics guy you've brought on your show, Joe.
Yeah, this is,
sounds
the-
like you're trying to tell him
Yeah.
and push a line of thought.
Yeah,
and
this is
thinking
the
that is
bullshit
really,
of some people are saying,
yeah.
which no one is necessarily
Oh, I
saying.
think the concern that people have. I
Yeah,
have.
no.
Is that's a concern people have?
No.
Outside of like you and your
Especially-
weirdo,
especially given-
xenophobic fucking friends.
Especially given how long it takes to become a citizen so you can fucking vote. This
Yeah,
is
it's
just
crazy.
laughable
It's-
on the
it's
face
a-
of it.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
stupid
they're
li-
they're putting people in swing states so that
Like-
what, in 20 years
Yeah.
they might be able to vote for Democrats?
Again, to think that there's a level of organization behind that, like, yeah, even for Fetterman's fucking melted ass brain,
Yeah.
even he's like, yeah, I don't think that exists.
That's not-
come into the country. Then you're providing them with all sorts of services like food stamps and housing and setting them up.
They come here and they get all the free stuff. That doesn't happen. Again, he's just spreading lies
Yeah.
about immigrants, spreading paranoid lies.
Yeah.
And this is after endorsing Donald Trump, after hearing everything he had to say about immigrants on the campaign trail. He endorsed him,
Yeah.
voted for him. What, about 35 weeks ago? That would have been
Directly before the election. Says
yeah,
November 3rd.
yeah. Okay, yeah. So
And then providing a pathway to amnesty, and then you would have voters that would be significantly voting towards the Democrats because they're the people that enabled them to come into the country in the first place and provided them with those services. This is a big fear that people have.
Well, it's
And
a
that-
stupid fear. And
that
so,
is
like,
a dumb fear. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sorry, if bringing more people into the country works and gives good policy and they have a good quality of life because of a certain policy, yes, they probably want to continue to endorse that. And you live in a democracy. So if you're like, we can't bring these people in, they might,
Want a good
vote for
quality of
somebody.
life.
Yeah, they might vote for somebody I don't like and wants to
Yeah.
take. It's such a warped fucking mind to think. Anti-democratic, like, we can't have more people. They'll vote against the people I like. That's insane.
Like citizens will vote the way that I don't think they should, and so
You're
we should make
rigging
sure that they
so
don't
he's
get.
talking about rigging elections by bringing in illegals
Yeah.
and fast tracking them to immigration. So all these fucking crazy paranoid thoughts about immigration, layers of them.
Yeah.
And then I look at this and go,
Fuck off.
he feels betrayed on immigration.
Yeah, like eat shit.
What? What are you talking about?
No.
No fucking way.
No.
I don't buy that for a second, Joe.
Clown shoes. The honking is deafening.
Yeah. But, I think there's, you're going to see a certain amount of political figures who want to sort of still somehow paint themselves as apolitical or somewhat separate from politics, like Joe Rogan, try and insulate themselves from how bad this is getting and how obviously bad it's getting.
Yeah.
I think like when you're confronted with the reality and maybe somebody in Joe's position is going, this isn't gonna look good for me a couple years down the line. Maybe I gotta try and pad this a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you don't tie yourself to an actual fascist. So, anywho, speaking of things getting worse, and speaking about the actual tangible repercussions, let's talk about the flood in Texas. That, for starters, it was an incredible flash flood event that the scale of it couldn't necessarily be predicted, but that people
knew.
during the floodplains,
Such as this.
yeah, So absolutely they can
They knew.
predict that there would be loss of life if you remove the ability to report on these extreme weather events with advance notice, so people can evacuate. But then also the area
2 months
where it
ago they had a
happened-
warning.
Yeah.
And what has happened? Well, let's highlight the word former there, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you take away people's ability to protect themselves with things like, Americans like to think of protecting yourself as just your guns.
Yeah.
But, having a national weather service also protects you from death.
Yeah.
And ostensibly, between Alligator Alcatraz being this thing they slapped up in 2 weeks in the middle of the fucking swamp that got flooded before
Almost
they
immediately.
almost immediately,
Yeah.
and then stuff like this, the tinfoil hat wearing guy in me goes, if I didn't know any better, I think the Trump administration is trying to murder people with weather.
And not just that, but
yeah.
you'll notice that these are very red states, right?
Yeah.
So you see where they are gleeful to put their resources and their money, and where they fucking aren't.
Yeah.
And the end result of either the putting money there or lack thereof is death.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think when it comes to the Trump administration specifically, you may see him just not caring about the average people in these red states that even voted for him.
He doesn't.
Like, I don't think he gives a shit about his own constituency
No.
and how many of them die and how many votes that may make him lose, because they're the pawns. They're the pawns. They're the peons.
Yeah.
And fuck them. And also, like, let's not forget a lot. He hates people who are in poverty and need government assistance.
Yeah.
Most of those people are in red states.
Yeah.
Most of those people.
Yeah, just
are in red
demographically,
states.
that is the
That's an
literal
absolute
reality
fact.
of the U.S. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you have it, right?
Yeah.
Just doing all these things to take away everybody's ability to protect themselves from tyranny, from natural disasters, everything.
Yeah.
Cut staffing, cut forecasts. What could possibly go wrong? Representative Joaquin Castro on Texas floods. I don't think it's helpful to have missing key personnel from the National Weather Service not in place to help prevent these tragedies. No fucking shit.
Yeah.
No fucking shit.
Yep. And then, piss off. Close it. Close in the top right corner. Top right corner. Nope. Close top right. X top right. Look down. No.
Oh, here.
There we go.
Why is there AI art?
Oh
in this?
yeah, I'm not
Again,
happy about that.
I see people posting this stuff like
Yeah.
this all the time. I know this is a total aside, but stuff that looks like this
Is AI. Right?
it's AI.
Yeah.
How do you not realize that? It's
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Stop doing it.
So, anywho,
Anyway.
So this is someone who I'm actually not familiar with this author at
Jelly
all.
bean?
Yeah. But they just,
I'm not sure who that is. It sounds vaguely familiar.
I have no idea. Yeah. But yeah, her title, You Let Your Kids Drown So You Could Own the Libs. Hope the bubbles sound like applause, you brainwashed fucking monsters.
Yeah.
This is the type of attitude that I hold towards folks who voted for Trump, because literally you're letting your kids drown. Like, these policy decisions are affecting not just the blue voters, right? Like, these floods, aren't going to check.
Yeah,
and see
I
who's
warn
home.
against being gleeful about harm
It's not
coming
gleeful,
to
yeah.
other people. Yeah, no, I just want to make sure we're making that distinction here.
No, it's
Because
just
saying
like,
I hope the bubbles sound like applause is like it's acknowledging you're already dead, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not cheering on your death.
No,
but
the thing is, I wanted people to
I
not
hope
die.
I
That's
hope
how
the
I
fact that
fucking
it's
vote.
happening to you. Do you feel good about it? Like, asking that sort of question. That's the takeaway I'm having from this. Just to make it clear, because I know there's always some fucking asshole out there that's going to try and, twist it.
Yeah, no, fuck that. But yeah, like literally. So the first image that you showed of like, you know, a couple people in a tank of the red hat versus the purple hair. Yeah, like seriously, the red hats are gleeful to want to cause death and harm because they think it's funny. Nothing about this is funny. The Schadenfreude is not. Am I saying that right?
Schadenfreude?
Yeah, it's not funny.
Yeah.
Like it sucks, and there's no joy in it.
Yeah.
It's just fucking stupid and preventative.
Yeah, it's like, you know, these
Preventable.
people are dying. It's so preventable. It's so stupid, and you kind of like almost the only thing you can do is look at it and go, well, fuck. I hope we learn something.
Yeah. Like, is any of this getting through to you?
Yeah.
Like the fact that this happened because of the cuts to the National Weather Service. Is any of this getting through? Does any of this matter? Will any of this change your mind? Like, fuck.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that pretty well brings us to the end of the show.
Yep.
So thank you to anybody watching. I didn't catch any live viewers on this one for some reason. I'm judging all my
How dare you
normal
have a
live
weekend
views out
plans.
there. Yeah. How dare you not be here for our show? But thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next Sunday, and we'll be continuing because I had a couple more things I wanted to talk about in regards to this. Actually, I had a couple clips lined up because one of the more, like when we're talking pop culture, it's not just comedians, right? There is so much content out there, podcast related content that gets shoved down people's throats in their social media feeds. I've noticed that is dating podcasts, and when guys and girls get around a table and they talk about dating, sex, all that stuff, the amount of political energy in those conversations that sort of can masquerade that it's not political. Oh boy. So that's a whole subject unto itself. We'll be getting into some of that stuff next week. So thanks so much for tuning in. You have anything to add?
Go home.
All
We
right.
are.
Yeah. Stay rough.